I'm back. Well, what have I got today? Well, saw this thing on the internet, and you know, I've got just over there, a Marshall 1959 hand-wired head. Dates back, they say, between the 67 and sort of 69 era SLP, I guess, or as near as damaged. Well, there it is over there, and you've got to have all the sort of attenuators and the rest to get a decent sound out of it. Unless you use pedals, and I'm not really a pedal type of guy, if you want the truth. I think they mask, in many ways, the true tone that you can get out of that. You don't really want, these distortion pedals in the front of it. Not really. What you want is the real tone. That's something to think about. So I was looking around, like I said, and I came across, one of these. Seat in front of me. Well, what the hell's one of them, Tony? Well, that's what I said. I said, what the hell is one of them? This thing's called, I've got to read it because I'm as up to date with it as you are. This one's called a Hot Mod version 2. And it says it's a dual 12AX7 tube gain stage module for Legendary Tones. I think that's the company name. Yeah, www.legendarytones.com. It's probably on the screen now. Anyway, you're going to see a picture of it. That's probably on the screen also right now. And on here it says 100% pure tube gain stage module. And it's got a little switch on the side, which, you know, I'm not one for reading that many instructions. I mean, how hard does it have to be? You plug it in and it sort of works, if you know what I mean. Well, what you're supposed to do with this is get rid of one of the tubes, in effect, out of that amp and make it two. That sounds like a good idea. Now, this is not going to be a review where I pull this thing apart and show you how it's made. I'm not going to do that. You know, in the respect of this particular guy that makes these, I think that would be wrong to pull it apart and show you what's inside and how it's done. You? Yeah, of course you do. But underneath this here, you've got a couple of tubes. Unfortunately, or fortunately, depending how you look at it, these are JJ12AX7s. There's one. And the other one is exactly the same. Twin sisters. Yeah, there it is. Yeah. How weird. Anyway, looking at this, you've got a little thumb screw at the end. You probably can't see from there, but it'll have a picture on the screen again. You've got this thumb screw at the end. And what you're supposed to do is take out the second tube in the run. There's only really two plus the pi tube. So not the first one, not the pi tube, but the middle one on one of them amps. And you fit this in its place, and this makes it two tubes. Now you can have it switched off or on, but that's the unit. And what we're going to do now is whip across to the Marshall amp and whip the back off. That sounds like an idea. We'll show you how hard it is to fit, which it isn't. And let's see what it does. I can't wait. Well, here's the amp. A lot of guys have seen this one before. This is a Marshall 1959 HW or hand wired. It says JMP on the front, but it's a little bit different than the standard SLP. Let's go it that way. So I'm going to turn it around. We'll whip the cover off and see how this fits. Well, there you have it. And by the way, I did upgrade this one to the Mullard tubes. One chappie on YouTube was raving about how great they are, and I agree with him. There they are. I did buy them. I did fit them. I did rebias it, and I hardly had to do any rebiasing, but yeah, it is done. So this is the amp. These are the three tubes, and what we want is that one there, this middle one. And you simply pull off the cover and go from there. Let me zoom in a bit closer. Okay, well, here's the three tubes. This is the the first tube, second tube, and the pi tube. So we want to pull out this middle one that I'd already taken the shroud off. It's just a simple matter. Pull it out, all very easy. And then we take the hot mod. Obviously you've got to line the pins up, very important, which isn't that easy. But the mod sits pretty much straight like this, so it's not that hard either. And all you do is push it into place. You can see it's gone down at the bottom here. And what we're supposed to do is tighten up this thumb screw, because that creates the ground. I want to get that as tight as I can, which I have. And that's it. That wasn't too hard, was it? Let's zoom out a little bit. There you go. And that's how yours should look. I'll leave the switch down for now, and we'll come back and have a look at that later. So I'm going to turn the amp around so we can see what the result is. Well, you've guessed it. It looks just like it did before. And that's one of the great things about this particular little mod. There's none of these external bits faffed around with or anything like that. You just plug it in the back and you can have that switch up or down, and away you go. So what I'm going to do is take a quick look at this now, and I'm going to show you. Yeah. So hold on in there. Let's have a look. I can't wait. This is with no effect turned on the booster. And this is the effect with the booster turned on. Surprisingly more gain. So maybe some other time I'll do a better audio example of this little unit. It has its place for sure. And if you've got an amp that's got really very few tubes in it, if you speak to David in that company, he'll help you and maybe create one or modify one so it fits in your amp. I know they're clever guys, I know that much. So yeah. That's the little modification. As I said, it does actually move these two volumes, we'll call them that, really so that right from the off you've got an awful lot more gain. Now whether that's what you want is another story. Remember, it's tube gain and that's a good thing. But it does actually drive the amp an awful lot further. And you can have a situation where if you pull these flat out, and I don't recommend that, on an attenuator where you'll get a sort of feedback. It's understandable because you're trying to drive the thing through the floor. It's not necessary to do that, but it's a good little enhancement. If you want that extra bit of tube drive rather than, you know, some TS808 or something on the floor. And that's where I think it's got its uses. I do know it will also work in that, that SC20 stealth amp. You know, that's like a JCM 800. I know it works in that as well. And yeah, very useful. One thing, I did have a bit of a problem with it when I first tried it. And what that related to was, you know, that little thumb screw on the back that we looked at? It needs to be really very tight, not just nipped up, very tight. And if that can't work on your amp, they do have like a little cable that can link across to another ground point, because the ground is important. That's what I found. But apart from that, pretty good bit of gear really, depending on what you want to do. It's all down to what you're trying to achieve. So how would I give it a score? I'd give it about a 7 out of 10, because it's not actually that easy to, well, it's easy enough to plug in, but it's not that easy to control when you turn it right up, and I don't think you'd want to. It's got its place for sure, especially in an environment in a studio like this. It's definitely got its place, because I could use it in a number of amps that are compatible, and you have to check to make sure it is compatible. So 7 out of 10 is pretty good. It's priced on his website, and I bought it, by the way, just like everyone else does, and I thought it was a pretty interesting product. I'd never seen one before, although the original design apparently came from Soldano. Yeah, very interesting.
Well, there you go. I don't know whether you can really hear the difference out there, but when you're playing the amp, you can really hear the difference. I was also using the Wazacraft reactive load, and that was set on default number 9, whatever that means. Who cares? The amp was about 50%, and the two channels were joined together, so it had a sort of nice sort of, well, in the room here it sounded nice. I also used a microphone that's like a dual microphone. That's an Audio-Technica. As I said, it blends two types of different mics together. Saves you setting two up, and you actually have two leads that come through to your desk, which I thought was very useful. I don't know how well that mic caught on, but it's something worth having if you've got a studio. Saves you faffing around, you know how it goes. So that is the Hotmod V2. It says here Legendary Tones. I think you go to legendarytones.com, like I showed you earlier. We had it on the down setting first, and we had it on the high setting afterwards. Remove stock second position, do all the stuff, and yeah, this one's still warm. Oh, and just before I do go away, where have I been? Oh my God! Well, you can see that PC there, can't you? Yeah. And I've got a network running in here, sort of AVB network. Couldn't get on the internet. Machine was crashing with blue screen of death every, well, 1 minute. And it's taken me weeks to get past it all. Literally weeks. So I did try recording this video many times. And you know what? I couldn't even get that far. But I have stress tested the whole system now, and I can do 48 tracks all in one go, and it doesn't crash out. So sounds like a plan. Now get out of here.